House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Half a day, everybody. Welcome to House to Home once again. It's Tuesday, so we are talking real estate, and no one I would rather be with to navigate me through the very treacherous waters. But fortunately, I have two captains here who are making very, very smooth sailing. And ladies, you got to jump in, Liz and Gina, because I'm running out of like ship analogies right now.
We're life vests. We're life vests, Jason.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, lifesavers. There you go.
Lifesavers and life vests. Yes. Well, thank you for keeping me afloat with this. And I was so fascinated at this discussion we had, especially last week when we had our friend Kim Anderson from Security Title on, kind of talking about why it's important to establish a trust. Because I mean, my own experience with dealing with my dad's property when it had to go through probate, I can't say it was painful. It was just time consuming, and it did, cost us some money. But it's certainly my situation, not everyone is like that, right? These things can get like rather hairy.
Now, Jace, do you recall that we actually, we did some work on that? I remember you talking about your properties, and I recommended that you do a title report. Do you remember?
We did, yeah. You actually helped me with that. You made it super, talking about lifesaver.
Well, and so when we did the title report, I remember you actually were surprised at some of the things you found in your title report. We actually went through it and you were, hey, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. And it was a great, it was great to actually go through the document. And that's kind of what we wanted to go over today. The fact that even though you know your property, you may not know your property. And that's, that's so important to get a title report in place so that you could see what's going on. I've had title reports come in for something that I own, and I was really surprised at what was in there. And I always tell my clients, my friends.
And you're the most detail-oriented person I know.
I don't know about that, but I can tell you, I was surprised. And I picked up the phone and called the title company, and I had questions. So that's what Liz and I kind of wanted to share with the audience today.
Yes. Yeah, because when people come to us, they want to either sell, liquidate, or deed their properties. And the first thing Gina and I would do is request for a title report, because the title report will reflect different things. And sometimes people are unaware that the property was deeded not just to them, but to so many other parties, or there was a lien on the property, or there were issues regarding the title to the property. It's funny, Gina and I were talking about issues, and we're both working on cases with clients who want to sell their property, but they can't because there are issues in the title. So whenever I get a PTR that is, there's some things in there that are issues, then I would contact the title company and say, hey, what is needed in order for me to liquidate this property for the two parties involved? And then they would tell me, well, certain documents are not in order, or certain documents are missing. So then I have to go back to the siblings and say, hey, you need to provide additional documentation because they're missing things, which does not give a clear paper trail to the ownership. Remember, the title companies want to show clear paper trail as to who owns the property, what issues are involved with the property in order to give it clear title. We can't close a transaction unless everything is clear within the title. So like I said, it's funny, Gina's going through some stuff with her clients, and so am I, but every case is different. You just never know what will crop up. I mean, I've been in the business 25 years, and there's always something new that we encounter, and we need the title companies to show us the clear path on how to correct it in order to make that transaction move forward.
And both of you actually really, again, going to the seafaring lingo and everything, you both kind of like had to course correct me, because I remember saying, I was like, well, it's only maybe an acre and a half. It's two small plots and everything like that. How detailed could it be? And you were like, no, don't don't make that assumption.
Yeah, yeah. The size of the property isn't really what matters. What matters is that you take an accurate view of it, and here's the reason it's so important to get a title report. You can go down to land management and review the documents yourself, absolutely. But, you know, everybody makes mistakes. There might be mistakes in the fact that the documents that were presented to land management aren't already in the right areas. So when you're doing your investigation, it's not there for you to view. And so you miss something. And we also help a lot of families that are simply just trying to pass on their property from one family member to another.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great, but you don't want surprises like, I don't want my sister to give me a piece of property and 10 years from now, I find out there's a mortgage on there that was never paid off. Because then that becomes my problem. So when we're helping families.
You not just inherit property, you inherit debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes
surprise!
The people that, surprise, yeah. And sometimes the people that you have to pay off may, you know, I mean, maybe the situation is you do want to pay it off. Hey, I didn't know it existed, but I want to pay it off. And then you find out you can't find that person or that entity. So how do you pay it off? How do you clean up this property now that is in your name, but you don't have the ability to get rid of that lien? For whatever reason, there could be many reasons.
And the bank is only going to be fair. They're going to say, you know, we're going to get our money one way or the other. You either have to cover the existing debt or we're going to take the property, right?
Yeah, that could happen. Or it could be an entity. It could be a person that you borrowed money from and put a lien
good point.
on real estate. And now, what if that person's gone? What if that person passed on? You paid them off, but they've already passed on. How do you get a release on that? These are the kind of questions that we ask, and we want you to be fully aware of before you get into the transaction. I mean, you might still decide to do it. There might be a reason you still want the title, but these are the kind of things we want to make sure are in order. That's what we do.
So Liz, kind of to reiterate what Kim was saying last week. So regardless of how large the property, how secure you are in what you believe the story behind that property and its history is, you should set up a trust, like regardless. It's just a smart thing to do, right?
Well, it just depends on your intent. Remember, you could do a will, but even if I pass, for example, that will still have to be probated. If I do a trust, the trust is it's a separate entity which states what is going to happen with that property. So I know with my mom, we had to clean up and make sure either it's, if you're deeding something and you want to make sure it goes to the proper person. For example, if I wanted to make sure you got the property, I could deed it, quit claim a property with my name on it, and I quit claim it to Jason and Liz as joint tenancy with rights to survivorship, so that if something happens to me, then the property will go to you and it's protected. So it bypasses probate. Again, Gina and I are not attorneys. We're just talking about our experiences and what we've done. But going back to the clear and clean title companies have to make sure that every step of the way, that every ownership of the property has clear title. I remember there's a situation that it goes back 5 ownerships prior to the property. It wasn't clean going from the one owner to the other, to the other, to the other. There was a bit of a snag. So the title company had to go back to find each of these owners to clean up the title. So Gina and I just want to emphasize the clean title is so critical, and the title companies have to go back to make sure that if we sold you something, that when you try to sell it, there won't be any issues. Mm-hmm. So again, can you imagine going back 5 owners to try to clean up that title?
In a best case, that might be maybe a decade or less. In some cases, this may be generations of families, right? Going back like to what, the 1900s or?
Exactly. Now, the sale could go through, but what each of us want is a title insurance so that if there's a snag later, then we're covered. That the escrow company will pay for whatever issues, attorney fees, etc. However, if there was a snag, they would not cover that particular issue. So they do have some disclosure in your title report that says, we will cover ABC. However, if this is an issue, we will not cover it.
Okay, well, Gina,
There's
we're
an
running out of time, so
exception.
I'd like to give you the last word, please, Gina.
Okay, well, here's the last word. I went to go renew my broker's license yesterday, and I just want to give a shout out to Daphne Shimizu and the people at Revenue and Tax.
Revenue and tax.
Round of applause. Totally.
No, I'm not kidding. I
Me
was
neither.
in an hour there I think it was almost an hour, not quite. And before COVID, I swear it took me days to process. I don't know why. Or maybe I just got lucky yesterday. I don't
Oh,
know.
No, that's
No.
Daphne in action. Her leadership is outstanding. She is stellar.
Yes.
Well, the people that helped me were fantastic. And I was in and out of there. I was prepared to watch videos on YouTube. I didn't even get a chance to do that. So thank you, Revenue and Tax.
Well, I'm
Too.
sure Gina, Reventax really appreciates that comment, and maybe your telecommunications provider would wish you'd spend more time on your phone. But no, it's good to know you had a positive experience.
Well,
did.
hey, John and I renewed our license as well just last week. Thumbs up, Reventax. Great
Thumbs up.
job.
All right. So thumbs up,
you.
and we are done with this episode. Thank you much. And we're going to end on that very, very positive and encouraging note. Ladies, thank you so much as always. See you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching KUAM.